All right. Good day. Good day. Happy Thursday. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Of course, since we are here with the Impact Podcast, you know that it is either the first or the third Thursday of the month. Yes, excitedly. So we are here, despite all the things that we have going on. We are here and we are excited to come together. I feel like I'm always excited whenever I can be in conversation with you ladies. And I hope that you guys feel the same whenever we come together because it's always such rich conversation. And sometimes it feels like, you're in a silo and you're all by yourself. I know I have a couple conversations going on in my head numerous times. However, when we get together, I'm like, it's not just me. It's not just me. So today we are here and welcome, our dear Damaris and Dr. Obiama. Welcome as usual. Our favorite people here. So we are here to talk to you guys today about leadership. And as I was thinking about it, I feel like it's so timely because I think we probably worked on these things separately, but when we come together and we start talking about it, we're all on the same page. So if anything, what I was thinking was that maybe we all saw a gap somewhere or a need, and we all decided to do something about it to address the need. So that's what we're here to talk about today. So, I'll start it off by I'll ask both of you, what is it that you see or feel is there's a gap? Where do you think the gap is when we talk about leadership in early childhood education or education overall today?
Me. I'm jumping in first.
Go for it.
The lack of authenticity. That's number one. Number two, integrity.
Mm.
And number three, real examples.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my number three. Go ahead, Damaris.
I want to say number 1, 2, and 3 is representation.
Oh.
Representation. I want people that look like me, talk like me, understand my programs, the culture of my programs, how I work, how I develop, and really have a good nip of really observing and meeting adults where they at, right? And building them where they need to be. And sometimes that looks different, right? Each time that looks different. I've been doing this for it's going to go on 20 years. And people always say, oh, you handheld your staff, you baby them. And I'm like, I'm not babying them. I'm building leaders. And that looks differently, right? And sometimes, yes, it is with some hand holding. Sometimes it is with, crying on my shoulder. Sometimes it's with a little scolding, like if I'm their mom, but it's on good love. It's tough love. And I always say to them, by the time you're finished here at Children's Playhouse or with Damaris, you're going to be ready for this future, this life, this a hard knock life, like we call it, right? So I feel like that is something. And I just want to mention, we each work separately, and we have such a great, and I just want to say this, we have such a great work relationship, friendship, that we all think the same way. And I am so excited to be working amongst you guys as a team, right? Because we always talk about we're in this together, right? We're building leaders for high quality, programs to become sustainable, entrepreneurs, women of color, right? To really sustain them. And I am so happy and thrilled to be in this space with you guys because, we're a fierce team together.
Agreed. It's so interesting, right? And so we've had conversations separately and then we have them together. And I remember us having a conversation, Damaris, and I was like, she's saying exactly what I've been thinking or what I'm trying to do. And what I love, and this is a transparent moment, what I love is for a moment, it was like, but wait, I don't want to duplicate anything. I don't want to, especially the thing is my eye isn't on necessarily Philadelphia. However, I know that Philadelphia will probably see it first. So I didn't want it to be this oversaturation of this idea. But because we have such authenticity and transparency in our group, Obiama was like, but wait a minute. It's power amongst us. Why not just collaborate? And I was like, you know what? And I know there's conversations you and I had, Damaris. It was like, well, let's just do it together. And I've been seeing needs, and both. I feel like it happens amongst all of us. See a need, and it's like, what you think? You want to do something about it? You want to do something, and that's what I love about how we kind of see things and address the gaps that we see. We're not going to sit back and complain. We're going to do something about it, but. Right. Understanding that the power comes from us collaborating, and then we can reach more people. Like
absolutely.
So, and I always get excited, right? Because I consider myself like the little, it's not the baby, but the baby and the little quiet mouse. And then I got my big sisters over here, and they be like coming with the fire.
And I remember summit. I think it was I can't remember where we went, but we went somewhere together, and I was listening to the keynote speaker, and I said, "Oh, she's amazing." And I looked at you, and I said, "That's where I want to see you up next year, right?" And you was like, "Me? No, not me." And I was like, "Yes, you." I said, "You got it in you. It's in you, and that's where I want to see you next year." So I just like feel like so empowered with having, and so grateful to be able to have. Real people, right? Talking real things, right? And going to, folks and be like, this happened to me today. Please, talk me off my bridge. I don't want to jump the bridge. My mouth could get too big. And you guys are able to, you understand me. And we've been kind of like, forming this relationship professionally and personally as well, and understanding each other. And that support system is there. So I'm so thrilled to like really be we already kind of, for those of you that don't know, we already kind of launched the leadership already because we wanted to do a pilot program without really, and working on, each module, how it's going to look, how we're going to pivot. And oh my gosh, I have so much great things to share when we get there. But, just building this with you guys and just really talking in depth of, how are we going to do this? How are we going to meet these providers? How are we going to meet these providers? Because each person has different needs is pretty amazing. And I want to say that this is really, it's good for everyone, but I am really excited that this is mostly like for leaders, right, in the ECE field, because after COVID, everything's changed. Life has changed. Business has changed. Talks have changed. Even the way we even feel today is not the same way we felt before, right? And then, this is really geared, this leadership model is really geared towards really talking about sustaining businesses, sustaining quality, sustaining, everything, sustaining staff, life after COVID, right? And how does that look? Because it looks different, right? So I'm so excited.
So here's the other piece, as I listen to you ladies, so many things. What come to my mind immediately is, how many times have you taken training and this is not, it is what it is? How many of you have taken training just to check the box, but it did not meet your need?
Oh, so many times. We want the meat and potatoes, right?
How many times have you been in the training where you didn't even feel connected to the people that was in the training or the person facilitating the training?
Absolutely.
How many times have you felt like something is missing? I spent all this time or money and I still didn't get what I needed. Or again, these grants come out year after year. You have a checklist from this funding source and that funding source that says you have to meet these amount of annual hours to certify your whatever. And even in that, it was just the surface, but it still didn't meet the needs of your staff. It still didn't move the needle forward. Your directors were still like, I'm overwhelmed. I need help. What's really going to be different about this leadership fellowship that we're putting together is, number one, we have proven, tried, tested fire proof strategies and techniques, but more importantly, which is going to be very different than anything that I've ever experienced in the early childhood industry specifically, is the safe place and space that is going to be created that currently does not exist.
Yes.
There is not one time I've ever went to a ECE training where there wasn't some type of shade, some type of politics, some type of bureaucratic BS, some type of something that was connected to the funding source or connected to the this or the that, which prevented people from really connecting and being authentic and honest about the real crap that was going on either with them or inside their program.
Amen.
And so this leadership fellowship is not like none of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or the intimidation practice, right? Because, you know, everything is built about trust. I get providers that call me and say, you know, I'm not meeting this quality. I'm not meeting this. How can I do this if this is what I am, you know, faced with today? And, you know, I'll sit with them and say, okay, let's really dig deep into your program. Let's go back to that mission.
Yes.
Right. And let's look at what your definition of quality is, not theirs.
Yes.
Right. What is your definition of quality? Because quality is more than just checking off that checkbox. Right. And your program is different than mine. Let's talk about how we can make this work for you, for the program, for the business, for the children that you serve, for the families that you serve, and the community you serve, all while keeping everybody safe. Right? Because now we're doctors, you know, we wear additional hats. Now we're nurses, we're doctors, we're everything. So, you know, this really makes, you know, the directors and even owners think differently. You know, when my staff started, you know, I went to Obiama and said, my goal is to work on the business, not in the business. Mm-hmm. And I have to make sure that I'm holding myself accountable, right? As the business owner, to really rely on my team. So working on those policies, working on those, you know, the infrastructure, right? The hierarchy chart, and really defining roles, you know, the way they needed to go was part of that. The staff and recruitment, but not only staff and recruitment. How are we retaining the staff? Right? Because, you know, we all know childcare is, you know, really going through this. Workforce, you know, pivoting into different, you know, holistic approaches. And now we got to dig deep. Now I got to invest in my leaders.
Absolutely.
And that's the part that's missing. Go ahead.
Yes. It really truly is.
And I think we're in the space, of course, in regards to like the elevation, right? Like I know individually, right? I want to work on my business, work on it and not in it as well. And my team knows that, right? So this isn't like I've discussed it with the team. They know the vision. We already have our annual plan in place, but I can't share all of that with them without helping them elevate as well. So, you know, what I feel like happens a lot of times in our industry is how people get promoted is, right, degree, right? Oh, you're qualified for the position, right? Okay, you've been here X number of years and you have the degree, you're promoted, done.
Or because they're forced to. Let's keep it real. With so many staff changes and shortages, sometimes they're forced to kind of like put people in leadership roles that they know they're not ready, but because they have those degrees, right?
It's about, but the degree, right? The degree doesn't teach you. It doesn't teach you how to be a leader. And a big part of that are relationships, right? Like being able to even, it's not even just about experience, like being within the program all of this time. Like, I feel like we need a lot of personal development. Like I'm trying to take a step back, even with my staff, because they cannot keep pouring into the cups of the children and the family without them being able to identify what they need. So let's talk about like, what is it that you need to develop based on where you want to go? Because we don't work with numbers. Like this isn't a numbers business where, you know, you're just another number in my organization. I care about every single one of my employees. I kind of know what's going on in their lives. But I also want to hear, I don't want to just dictate to them what I want them to do for the benefit of me and my business. I want to develop them where they are. I want them to understand the vision of the organization, hear from them, for them to be able to create a vision for themselves and for us to collaborate and make a better, not just my organization, but we're impacting the lives of children, families, and the community. So that means that we're reaching outside of our organization, but do they understand what leadership is and what that entails? Whether you're inside the building, I want them to be a great representation, even when they're in their homes, when they're outside of our organization, because we are building leaders. And if we're talking about sustainability, we're not just talking about my personal gain. And I think all of those times when we've come back and said, listen, this is what we have to do this year. In order for us to be compliant, we have to do this. None of that meant anything. They're like, here we go again. Here's another change. Yeah. They had no idea the association to this goal or this new check off box, or, like now we have conversations about it. We're going to take a step back. Here's the new regulations. Let's take a step back. Let's read. What does that mean for us? Because our voice as an organization and the culture cannot lose its voice. We're going to be compliant, but we're going to do it our way. But you can't do that if you haven't gained leadership skills or to understand goal setting, understand relationship building, communication, right? Like all of these things that sometimes it is not a part of like the courses that you have to take, right? Just take the course, you're qualified.
Right. Check the box. Check the box. And here's the other thing that's really important that you're saying, Aaliyah. So, of course, you guys know I work with a lot of people, and because I teach the directors, I come across a ton of people, right? And so between the directors and the owners, this is what I hear every time someone completes one of my courses. They always say, number one, I didn't know this.
I'd be confused.
They have degrees. They all have degrees. They all have degrees. And they every single time, I didn't learn this. Nobody taught me this.
Well, you already know how my director was actually in a director's credential class and was so frustrated. I taught her how to budget in 15 minutes, by the way. And she was so frustrated. When she started the leadership, right, she came to me and said, I've learned more in 2 weeks than I've been in these director's credentials classes with this fellowship. I didn't know that we were able to do this and able to do that. And, let me tell you something, guys, and I'm going to say me, because I deserve this time. I really do. I never go on vacation, right? I really don't. I go on, when I go on vacation, I'm always thinking, oh my God, I got to post this. I got to do this. I got to, make sure that the lesson plans are done and all this other stuff. I just came back from vacation and these directors decided to have a meeting without me to collaborate after hours. They send out this Zoom link. I just so happened to call and they're like, oh, we're about to get on a collaborative meeting on their own. And I was like, wait a minute, you guys didn't invite me. I was like, well, I want to come. And they invited me because, out of pity, because they really didn't want me there, because if not, they would have sent me that link. But I just went and I just did a listening mode. And my gosh, I literally teared up because it was just so much talking, reflecting about, the beginning of the school year, the staff, what do they need? What type of, quality improvement plan, staffing plan, what do we need? Leadership plans. And all of that was not something I created. That's something that they created. They talked about. And I was just like, this is amazing. This is amazing, and talking about next steps and how they're going to do those next steps. So I just, I was hoping that they were able to come, but they're doing back to school night at our school. So they're without me for the first time ever in 20 years. I'm telling you, I'm home, guys. I'm so I am home.
Listen, and let me just tell you, because I was at one of her centers today at 3:00 and I was supposed to be there to 5, and I had to slip out because they were in full. They were. It was so beautiful to see. Like the classrooms was where they need to be. The parents was in. Everyone was getting, I was like, Y'all
Yeah.
got this. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But again, it goes back to when you invest in the right things. And so as a owner, if you're not investing in your leadership, then you really can't expect, I like to say it this way. You can't make a withdrawal where you've made no deposit.
Right. That
There we
part.
go.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
There we go.
Yeah.
And you can't expect growth either. Like, this is the thing. I'm not trying to build a bunch of little Leahs. Like, I do not want you guys to duplicate what I've done. I want each of you, you mentioned authenticity. I want you guys to come with your authentic selves, with your fresh ideas, so that when everything comes together, it's a fresh idea and we're moving the industry forward. Because I remember times when, not too long ago, a couple of months ago, we got to the point where we were doing gratitude a lot. Like, we wanted to make that a part of our culture. And it was a time we got on the meetings and, like, I had no gratitude. Like, I was like, well, I actually felt kind of I was like, I didn't even know all that was happening. I didn't know these things this was going on, but it didn't need to come to me because they took care of it amongst themselves. And they were really giving one another kudos, like, thank you for helping, and thank you up on the second floor. And they were just shouting out one another. And it just felt so great to hear, because by showing it, being the model of what that looks like and making sure that I express gratitude to my team, then they were able to start doing it amongst themselves. And I was at a mastermind the past couple of days, and we spoke about, sometimes it can be frustrating as a leader where you feel like you're pouring and you keep giving and then they don't give back. But it really is, sometimes they don't give back how we want them or how we expect them to, right? Just because I did this for you doesn't mean you're going to give it back the same way. And I recall the moment where I think that it was like Christmas time, and we came in and they surprised my mom and I and called us in the gym and had a whole presentation and a gratitude tree. It was just a tree with cards on it, just a bunch of thank yous. And it was like no money could not have amounted to the amount of fullness that I felt, just the thank yous.
It was real. It was real.
Yeah,
It was authentic. It was real. Yeah.
And it wasn't duplicated. I didn't do that and they bought it back and did the same thing. No, right? So when you kind of create this culture where people can grow, then you start to see them become leaders in their own right. And when we talk about leadership, we're not only talking about an administrative position. I want to see my team members, all of them, be leaders in their classrooms, with their families, in their households, in their communities. When we talk about leaders, we're talking leaders.
Right.
Yes.
Because it takes a village. It takes
It
a village.
does.
Yes.
It does take a village. And I'm so super excited because this is past overdue.
Yeah.
And many have attempted, but we're here. We are the change that we have been longing to see.
Yes.
And everyone that's watching this and that will watch this, what's really important is that we move away from, I ain't doing that and I ain't paying that and I ain't, because for so long, that's always the chatter. Oh, you know how much, but we spend money on other things that don't even give us a return.
Absolutely.
Don't so like the investment of this fellowship is what's going to allow your program to be sustained for years to come. And just think of it as a trip, a bag, a shoot, right? Things that don't even bring you a return, that you spend money on anyway. Reinvest that money back into your program by sending your leader to this leadership fellowship. Why? Because your program is worth it. Your children are worth it. Your families are worth it. Your community,
even themselves, right? Because I know a lot of owner directors, and they've been working in classrooms, covering this stuff, and sometimes they just need to talk to other people, right? Other folks, and say, what are you doing in your program?
Absolutely.
right? And what is your plan? What's your marketing plan? How do you do this, for staff retentions, and having that space and that opportunity in a fellowship program.
Yes.
Here's how I envision it, and I'm hoping that Lee, I'm speaking for Lee and Dr. Martin and Obiama. I envision it like, first of all, we studied the modules and we started talking. We started like saying, okay, this doesn't work. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. I was like, okay, now that we're ready, it needs to be bilingual. Because I'm always going to be the advocacy for making sure that everybody reaches it. And of course, because these are my girls, they were like, of course it is, whatever you want, whatever you need.
But not only that, here's the thing, the Spanish community, and I mean, this is true for all communities, that English is not their primary language. And if we knew somebody that could join us that spoke whatever that is, like, you're welcome, right? But the thing about it is, the truth is, minorities and immigrants who are in this work but don't speak our language,
don't get it.
They don't have these opportunities. They don't have
the resources. So, it's just the bare minimum.
Yeah. Yes. So yes, this is going to be bilingual, because we need to get all our sisters and brothers. Yes, absolutely. So that we can create this ecosystem, right? That just keeps giving.
Yeah.
And cohort 1. I'm sorry, Aaliyah. It's just because I'm talking so excitedly, because I'm really excited about the project. I see it like when they complete the fellowship, right? The Exceptional Leadership Bilingual Fellowship. When they complete it, it's a lifelong of partners, of community, folks that learn together, folks that remain together. I remember I've done a lot of cohorts, and I still to this day talk to many cohort members that I've been in, with all these other initiatives that I've been through. And we talk, even if it's not every day, but when we need each other or I need something, I know who to turn to. And they do as well. So we become like this, this unity, like this sisterhood, like this, this sister and brotherhood, right? Mm-hmm. So these are like great opportunities, and fellowships like this is just amazing.
Yes.
To create that kind of, or foster those type of relationships.
And what I love about the opportunity is because we are not, right, like I think hopefully you followed us thus far, and if not, go back and watch all the other videos so you can get to know us. But we don't just talk about it, like we are about it, right? And this isn't one of those, there is no like political mission. There's no underlying, like mission other than to really build exceptional leaders, like, right? But with that, we want to hear your voice. We want to be able to, the thing that I love about cohorts, and especially about a first one, is you learn so much from them, and you have a voice that could change the trajectory of something, right? This is a vision that you can come to, and you have a voice in it. And there's a lot of times, I know for me, I mentioned at the beginning, feeling like a silo, but even when we talk, even us three, like walking away from every conversation, you walk away with a nugget. So can you imagine 12 weeks of having conversations amongst other leaders, right? They could be teachers, owners, business, like whatever. Can you imagine the rich conversations that are going to happen? And you're able to literally start dreaming and start having your own visions so that you can take it back to your program to make it that much more impactful. That's what I love about it, because this isn't one of those we're going to be within a box where you're checking off boxes. No, we're going to color outside the lines, because whoever said you got to stay within the line, right? Like you're able to like dream. And that's what I'm excited about, is all of it is an opportunity to really just come to a space like no other. Like I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And making it, I think the other advocacy component, because we were like, okay, all right, now we have like some type of access to different languages. I'm able to do the Spanish component and really access the Latinx community for now, for the first pilot. And I was like, okay, now it needs to be affordable, right? Because we also need to make sure that we're removing as much barriers as possible. So, we have high hopes, right? We wanted to we really dug deep, and it was like, we want to do like this whole entire, Obiama is really big on this, like going out and going for 3 days and going in a mansion and celebrating. And I'm like,
experience.
Listen, yeah. I was like, no, we need affordability. Some providers, we're going to some time. Let's bring it back down a notch a little bit. Let's make sure that people can access this. So I was really excited when, they released the workforce funding, right? And the slides, and I was at the meeting, and I said, this fellowship is workforce approved. So, digging back, I said, this would meet, the peak was hours since needed. I believe it's 24, 28, something like that. I think it was 24 peak was hours for 12 weeks.
And leadership. That's going to count. Not leadership that you just checking the box to check the box. Like, this is really going to make an impact.
Absolutely. And so, how much more affordable than that, right? Something you can definitely write off if you get into workforce plan, or even if you're not, if you say, I don't have enough, I can't do this. Well, then let me do it this way, right? It is a business expense. It is a great investment. So I just wanted to say that it is affordable compared to a lot of things that are out there that I'm seeing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is it crazy? You get a doctorate with this? I'm like, what is going on here? And what am I going to learn again? Nothing. So, yeah, I feel like
it's so, and it is affordable. You can use the grant, which I think we should be more intentional too about our budgets as well, right? Like, I mean, this is how I like to look at it too, because it's a lot of things that we purchase and we buy that, I mean, it's arguable the amount of impact that it brought to the program. So, yet another pack of construction paper or this or whatever this is really something that's a return on your investment. It's something that keeps on giving and it keeps on growing. And what I think it will do also is make you want more. Right. Like, I think you're going to want more, and you're not going to want to stop here. And that's what you're going to want to level up.
They're going to want to take us home, and you can't take us home, but that's another conversation.
Listen. But like you mentioned before, I've also been a part of cohorts, and they don't stop at the end of a program. They continue on. You stay in contact, right? Iron sharpens iron. When you're amongst other people, and then it's like, then you have accountability partners within the group, right? Yes. You're bouncing off ideas, and I said I was going to do this, within the next week, and then you have other people who are like-minded, or either you're like-minded or you're going to have to level up because you're going to be in a group of people, especially amongst us. You're not going to just sit.
Hold you accountable. Absolutely.
And though that's what we need, though. It's not, it's not one of those things we keep mentioning, checking off the box. That is not what this is. This really is.
And a space for the passion, for a space for you to speak freely without judgment.
Yes.
Right. Yes. I've had a safe space, absolutely, because we all need that, right?
Yes. And that's the other thing that's missing.
Right.
From everything that's out
absolutely here. We're not part of organizations that have the political thing. Obviously, we are all child mandated reporters, but there's, we can definitely look at, okay, this is happening in your program. Babes, come here. Let's talk about this. So that way you can remain open, keep your children in the community, in the family safe, and reach that high quality. Again, we're going to have this conversation without me, judging you. It's about helping you. It's about making sure that you're sustainable and that we are actually keeping our programs open, right? We're keeping programs open and children served. Because too many of them close doors.
That's right. And they're closing doors because they don't have the support. Right. They don't have a community. Yes. And they end up being silo. Right. And the other part of this is what we get to do, right? What we get to do is help whosoever will go from good to great.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You know what? I remember, it's interesting you say that. I remember being excited about, like, all of our quality improvement systems that we've had. And they used to have the good, better, best. They had this thing. And I was like, okay, I looked to those documents, and I'm not diminishing the value that it had, because it really helped me get to where I am. It was like a framework, if you will, at that time, where it showed you, okay, this is what good looks like, this is what better, this is what's best. But then when you get to a place where you understand the foundation, and now you can add your sauce, like now, right? I already know the framework, and now I can, come authentically as who we are as a program and serve our people the way we serve it. I don't think a lot of or some programs or leaders know how to do that. You may still be looking to what the box says to do, but you're not showing up authentically, which is part of your marketing too, right? I feel like what we'll talk about are ways that you could take a step back, look at your mission, the vision of your program, and say, okay, here's a framework, but here's what I can do to make sure that my program is sustainable, to make sure that I'm meeting the needs of my families. And we're also leveling up, because when you start, I know for me, as we start growing, and now we're employing employees who have degrees and they have experience, I, as a leader, have to level up so that I can raise them up. But you can't do that if you're staying at the same level. If you're not surrounding yourself with people or in programs that's going to help you elevate, how can I elevate my team? And I owe that to them. The same way they owe it to the children to constantly learn. And just because they had that degree, the learning didn't stop. We have to stay creative. We have to, at this point, honestly, the way I start framing it is, it's not, can I afford to? It's, can I afford not to?
Yes.
Right. I not to level up. I stay investing. I got it. Nope. Got the level
Elliot,
up.
one of my favorite parts of this is, as I read over and over, and I'm like, what else can we give? What else can we give? And
we're going to be giving a lot.
I was like, slow down. We're going to give a lot.
So
one of the things that I'm really, really excited about is the budgeting. Talking about financing and everything, because it's different, right? We do have some finance, we have some budgeting in ECE, we have this, but there's no talks about, what's your future going to look like? What can you invest, right? Do you have a K1? What are you, an S Corp or limited liability? What kind of things, so those are like real-time conversations that we can be like, hey, let's dig deep, right? We don't want to know your dollar amount, but we want to know how you're sitting for Peter to pay Paul, right? Without owing any money, and investing, and putting yourself in a space, maybe not today, but a 5-year plan, and how to do that, so that way you can grow, right? If that's what you want to do, you could expand, you could do this, buy houses, go vacationing. I don't care what it is, but at least you're put yourself in a space where you're going to be able to do that. And the second thing is, second and third is the marketing component. I love marketing. Man, I can market all day. I just love like the marketing component, and really like saying, all right, what tools are we using? What tools can you use? How can you use it? How can you attract more clientele? Do you have to hit the streets? Do you have to do door to door? Do you have to go talk? So talking about those things and really creating plans for the providers, for these centers is really important as well. And thirdly and lastly is the oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. It was marketing, it was the budgeting. Human resources, guys. Oh my gosh, human resources. If you don't have a real a policy that meets your needs, you're always gonna have problems. You're always going to have problems. So talking about that human resource component, of course, everything else is beautiful, like curriculum and everything else. But those are like my favorite components of these, because I'm really excited to really throw some stuff there. It's in me. Like those are like my major hot topics,
I'm trying to think if I've seen Damara smile like this much.
No, I never smile. I'm always tired. I'm always exhausted. Listen, I just came back from vacation. I've worked, but not on this. But
I love that. I feel like, if anything, everything that you're talking about are the things that you implemented in your program, which is allowing you to have the joy that you have, to travel, to have a team who they're not begrudgingly telling you about that they have to do back to school night. They're like kicking Obiama out and like, no, we don't need you at the meeting. They're happy doing these things, right? Like, because sometimes you have staff who like, we have to do, because they said we have to do it, so we have to do back to school. No, this is an opportunity for them to do something. But I feel like you are literally living the benefits of putting these things in place in your program. And I look at that honestly as one of the best marketing tools, like, right? You're showing.
Absolutely. Being able to be away, I island hop for the last week, and being able to do that without saying I have to be rushed back.
Yes.
Because this happened. And by the way, guys, just like the rest of the world, we're back to school. So what happens? COVID. There was like a few COVID exposures, a few classroom closures today. And my team held it down. I called them and said, you need me to come? Now there's like 5 call outs today. And they held it down and still held back to school night with me not there. And I'm just so proud of them. I'm so proud of me for leaping that. I'm proud of Obiama, for really investing in them. I had to know that I led them to where I could. Yeah. And I had to step back and realize I need someone else that's going to be able to do that. So, speaking with Obiama and take it to the next level, right? Speaking to Obiama, I'm like, this is my vision. This is the vision of the program. Go. Right. And everything is like a collaborative effort, obviously, which they even come to me and say, well, we were at Obiama and this is what we talked about. And this is what we want to do. And I'm like, they like, well, we need approval. And I'm like, go.
Yes.
You have approval. I said, listen, this is your program. Yes. All I do is sign the checks and make the policies, and you even have to guide me to make the policies because you have to advise me because everything changes, right? So yeah, I think it's just a beautiful thing. You're right, Aaliyah. I haven't smiled this much.
No, I haven't seen it.
So Aaliyah, here's the thing. When we started this, June, July? When did we start?
June. It was like June, like the end.
Yeah, like June. And I said to Damaris, like, I wanted her to firsthand experience it. So then when we opened it up to everyone else, she would be able to say firsthand, no, my staff, this is the transformation. This is the, and it's just really a beautiful, beautiful thing. So listen, those of you who are like, what are they so giddy about? Why are they so happy? And Aaliyah too. I mean, I've been working with your staff, a year and a half now?
Yeah. Yep.
A year and a half now. So, I mean, you can share what that's been like for your staff.
I mean, like, so, and I think this, all of it relates. All of it relates. After COVID, I don't know about you guys, but I felt like I had to take the reins of my program and be creative how I felt we needed to be creative. And a big part of that was investment. And it was investment in my staff and my team. So not only does Obiama coach me, again, I'm not stingy. I don't want it just for me. I need it for my team too. And it was like, listen, how can we get them what they need? My mom, I'm talking all of them. How can we get everybody? Because this wasn't just, it's not a matter of, I need you guys to just come keep producing for me. I know I want you guys well. I want your needs met. I want, so all those things, we tried to figure out creative ways. And honestly, I don't know. I just be like, Obiama, go do what you do. Create
and we just step back and just let her work her magic and be like, it's going to work.
That's it. Like literally, right? So again, I think this is again an example of, right? So I know we have like the PASS, the program administration scale. We have all of these tools that say this is what you should offer. We create our own benefits. That's another benefit, the mental health supports, right?
Absolutely.
Mental health supports for the staff. That is not for me. That's whatever y'all need, and that's what they're told. Whatever you need, go. Obiama be there. I don't even know she's there. I'm like, oh, she was here today. They're like, yeah, we met and we took a walk and we awesome. High five. Whatever you need.
I don't even know when she's in the program either, unless I just bump into her.
Yes, and I'm like, oh hey. whatever you need. But that also include, first of all, let me say this. Talking about, you know, sometimes how you feel the state is in the building. No, that's the same. Obiama's in the building. But no, if Obiama's in the building, it's to support you, but it is also to make sure that you are leveled up and you are professional and you're giving these children and families what they deserve. So all of that is happening, all of that, right? And so there's no show. I always tell them we're not putting on a show for anybody. Whatever, you just be who you are. But I say all that to say there's comfortability because there's so much support and investment in them that they're able to get what it is that they need so that they can come and give their best to the children and families and their coworkers. And, you know, all that has been done with collaborating with Obiama and doing the same, like you mentioned, Damaris, sharing the vision. This is what I want from our program. This is where we're going. How can we get there? And again, not just me, because I was away the last couple of days too. And my director called and I was like, what's wrong? She was like, what's wrong? Nothing. I just needed a copy of the thing. I was like, bless you for not needing anything. No, it's no emergency. Bye. I was like, it feels great to go somewhere and like be okay and like feel okay
and have that sense of tranquility, right? That I can focus on something else.
And so here's the thing. So many of you that's listening and that's going to watch this replay are like, I want that. I want that. Invest in this fellowship because you're going to learn how to get that. Damaris has almost 20 years, as she said. Aaliyah, how many years you have?
14.
14. And I have 20. So what's that, 54? About 50? No, is that about 54?
24.
Yeah.
About 54. But what we're saying though is that this is 54 years combined experience, right? Battle tested.
Yeah.
Fire tested, tried and true. Yes. We know all the tricks and the finesse.
Yes.
We've been through all of the bureaucracy, the politics, the no funding, the no staff, the ins and outs and all that.
The budget didn't go through.
Yeah. Checks delayed, all of that. All of that. You know, staff calling out every time you turn around and so we get to. Right? We get to share 54 years. Yes. Like for the investment of this program, you're not getting that from nobody. I need y'all to understand. So you cannot afford not to make this investment. And listen, spaces are limited, right? Because we want to keep it authentic. We want to make sure it's a safe space. So it's not about doing 30, 40 people. It's a small cohort. Because we really want you guys to get what you need. And sometimes you can't do that in big numbers.
No.
Right? No. You can't do that in big numbers. So this is an invitation. This is not a sales pitch. This is an invitation because we already know the value.
So everyone can find the flyer on each of our LinkedIn pages, right? I believe it's on our LinkedIn and Facebook pages as well. Yep. It's called the Exceptional Leadership Bilingual Fellowship Program.
Is there any
way? It's a long name.
Aaliyah, can you put that in the feeder, the thing that go across the screen?
When I share it, because the way that it's going.
Okay.
Oh, it's Exceptional Leadership Bilingual Fellowship Program. It is starting on I think it was the first Monday or second Monday of October. Is that correct? I'll tell you right now. It's starting October 10th. It's starting October 10th. I'm so excited. It's going to go for 10 weeks. You will meet with Ms. Leah, Dr. Martin, Dr. Obiama, and myself. And if you want some more information on it, you can actually email info@latinoseducandojuntos.org. I don't know, that's a big mouthful. So let me just say that again. It's info@latinos is LATINOS Educando EDUNCADOJUNTOS.org. But if you find us on our LinkedIn page, actually that's what it is. You guys can actually get it. I want to say one final thing for you people that have organizations and are raising your children to become your leaders and your successors, or like I call my daughter, my exit ticket, my exit strategy, because, I'm getting old. 20 years is a lot. And eventually I'm going to, die out and let the younger generation take over, right? I'm going to pass the torch.
Yes.
I have my daughter, she graduated with her master's. She's in her PhD, doing her thing. And I say to her, please don't make me regret this money on this education, right? Because sometimes, she just wasn't able to connect with this leadership, right? Master's MBA, by the way. And, she's been with Dr. Martin, and wow, can I tell you, I am so proud of my daughter. And I just want to say this out to the world. I am so excited that not only because she's my daughter, but she is a Latina woman, right? Well educated and well grounded with so much now. And I'm very grateful that she was a part of this. She continues to be a part of this. And just watching her grow for the past few months has been amazing. So she's really my exit strategy, guys. Now I can really say she's my exit strategy. But
that's huge. I feel like there are a lot of people in the industry who have that exact area, right? Like, listen, I was my mom's exit strategy. My mom doesn't want to exit, but if she wants to, she can exit, right? Like, but I think if anything, you really, if that is you, and you have, a family member who you would love to be your successor, I think even in this program, you can get those tools as well. I did not expect my daughter to join in. She called me. I was on the plane. She's like, Mom, I already have somebody to come to our next meeting. And I'm like, really? Like, excited about this work. I never could have imagined this ever. And I was saying to somebody earlier, I now see what my mom felt like when I came into the business. I now understand. And like, that feeling is amazing, to have someone who cares about you. Already know that they care about you, but to care about the work that much that they want to come in and offer, their best. That's what I think is amazing. And what I keep remembering is a part of the name of the fellowship is exceptional. This isn't one of those, let's skate by, we're just going to show you what to do because we want to sell you some. That's not what this is. This is excellence, right? Because I don't know if you know any of us, but we don't do low budget. Watch our episode. We don't do low budget. Okay. Seriously. And we're serious about our work. Like, so when we say exceptional, it's not a cute word added to the fellowship. We're talking exceptional. Awesome. It's the end of my commercial.
So go to LinkedIn. Go to LinkedIn, and you'll be able to see on our pages. You'll be able to watch the replay. And listen, space is limited. Like, it really is. So first come, first serve. You can get on the waiting list if you don't make it in this first cohort. But we are really looking forward to being able to serve you all of this goodness in the first.
We're going to celebrate you too.
Yes. Oh,
you're our first cohort, so we're going to really go down into celebration.
Yeah. We got so many surprises and bonuses. Y'all don't even understand, because that's what we do. We're givers.
Right.
Yes. We're givers. So, all right.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. As usual, we could talk all day, all night. But thank you for joining us. For those watching the replay, we appreciate you watching. Share your comments, share your needs, share your questions. But definitely check out our social media pages. You could get additional information, and we will see you there. We're ready to make an impact with you guys. So thank you so much for joining us on the Impact Podcast. Until next time, have a good night.
Bye.